A father of four is not spending this Father's Day as anyone would like. According to police, a sucker punch at a bar in Andover last night sent him to the hospital.
Yeah, and this afternoon, the man who turned himself into the Anoka County Jail for the crime is the Minneapolis Police Sergeant. Fox 9's Leah Bino talked exclusively with a longtime friend of the victim who saw it happen last night. First of all, Leah, how's this guy doing?
Well, tonight he's on life support. He's had 2 brain surgeries in the last 24 hours because of bleeding on his brain, but doctors are hopeful because his vitals are good, so that's a very good sign. While his family and friends are dealing with all of that, they're still trying to wrap their heads around the fact that a Minneapolis cop who's been on the job for the past 10 years is in jail because of all of this.
Well, everybody's taking it hard. It's tough.
Brian Vander Lee is fighting for his life with his wife and 4 young daughters by his side. His friend since the 7th grade is trying to be as strong as possible. Mike Archambault last spoke to him on his cell phone as he was pulling into Tanner's parking lot in Andover. He was going to meet Vander Lee, his wife, and brother for a drink on the patio.
He says, well, where are you at? Get in here. And I said, I'm in the parking lot, you big dummy. I said, I'll be right in. And he said a couple things to me, and then the phone went dead. Phone conversation just dropped.
One punch during that call left Vander Lee unconscious after his head hit the concrete.
Guy in a black shirt come running out of the patio area of Tanner's. And so a couple guys went chasing after him.
Investigators spent the night searching for the suspect. They quickly learned they were looking for a Minneapolis Police Sergeant, David Clifford. He's been with the department since 1993 and is currently the executive officer of the SWAT team.
Protect and serve, and this is how he acts when he's out. I mean, they're at a public restaurant. They've got music playing. They've got people conversing, and this guy, I don't understand. I don't understand how it could happen.
A spokesman for the Anoka County Sheriff's Department says Clifford turned himself into jail Sunday afternoon with his attorney by his side. They say he downplayed the incident, but surveillance video from the patio shows otherwise.
The video shows Brian crouched down on the phone. The guy said something. Brian turned around, and the guy, wham, just like that.
Investigators confirm what Archambault told us. The only contact Clifford and Vander Lee had during the 20 minutes they were on the patio together prior to the punch was when Clifford asked him to talk more quietly on his cell phone. No one dreamed it would lead to this.
I think he realizes now. I don't think he realized how serious it was last night. And now that word's got out that Brian is in the condition he's in, that he better do what's right.
Sergeant Clifford is being held at the Anoka County Jail awaiting charges for 1st and 3rd degree assault. Meanwhile, Vander Lee's family is working to put together a fund to help offset the medical costs. He sells advertisements at the Star Tribune and has struggled financially the last couple of years. Back to you, Heidi.
Yeah, Leah, do we know if there were a lot of people on the patio who saw this happen? And did anybody know that this guy was a cop?
We're told it was about 10, 12 people or so. A few of those people were with the victim. A few people were with the sergeant. And it's unclear exactly how police found out that he was a Minneapolis cop that they were looking for. But last night they alerted the Minneapolis Police Department that they were looking for someone within the department. They went to this guy's house, and the family was very relieved this afternoon around 1:30 when they found out that this sergeant turned himself in.
A Minneapolis police sergeant is in jail following a fight over the weekend that has put a man in the hospital in very serious condition.
Fox 9's Leah Bino broke the story on Sunday night. And Leah, this suspect is actually an award-winning police officer. What more do we know about him tonight? And do we have any idea what really caused him to confront the victim the way he did?
Well, according to the criminal complaint for 3rd degree assault, now that's a felony, and Anoka County just released that within the last half hour. It says that Sergeant David Clifford says that he asked the man who was on the patio with him, who's now the victim, to stop using offensive language. He stopped for a few minutes, but then apparently started up again, and he went over to confront him about it, and he says that the victim stood up as if he was going to hit him, but the officer punched first and then ran off. After investigators talked with some other people on that patio, they say that they never heard any offensive language, and now the Minneapolis Police Department is doing some backpedaling today. Sergeant David Clifford is still in the Anoka County Jail until his first court appearance tomorrow morning. His history with the police department includes 2 Medals of Valor. He's been nominated 5 times for the Merit Award and received 2 of those nominations. Plus, he served with the UN in Kosovo. Not to mention, as we told you last night, he's the executive officer with the SWAT team and has been with the department for nearly 20 years. Investigators in Anoka say his story doesn't exactly match up with the surveillance video on that patio in Andover last night and some of the witness statements. Plus, on top of all of this, Heidi, we realized that Sergeant David Clifford was also part of a lawsuit from the late 90s. You'll hear more on some of the similarities to this case. You'll hear that coming up at 9 o'clock. Back to you.
Wow, so much new information. You know, when this first broke yesterday, we had been hearing that it was about a cell phone conversation that was too loud, and the officer had asked this gentleman to tone it down a bit, and that sort of started the whole thing. But we're also hearing
Correct,
now,
and that's what the friends and witnesses are still saying. They're still saying it was about him talking too loud on the cell phone. Now this new statement from the sergeant says it was about offensive language. Right, understood. And then we're also learning that he left the scene after this happened. Do investigators have any idea where he went? Well, apparently he eventually got picked up by his wife later that night, and then when officers, they knew his name, they knew who they were looking for that night, they went to his house, knocked on his door, saw that everything was dark, everything was quiet. According to the criminal complaint, he admits he was inside hiding at that time, didn't turn himself in until about 1:30 Sunday afternoon with his lawyer.